morning, Swamiji. Good morning, Sakshi ji. I am fine, thank you. So, happy Sunday. Thank you. Great, we will talk about it. Great. So, today we are going to talk about Jyeshtha Nakshatra. I think being a Scorpio, I like this section, right from Vishakha to Anuradha, then Jyeshtha. Jyeshtha is we can understand Jyeshtha in few ways. First, by the name itself. Okay, Jyeshtha means the name, the word. Okay, the word Jyeshtha means the eldest one. Okay, so that will have its impact on its functioning. Then, as we know that Jyeshtha falls between 16 degree 40 minutes of Scorpio to 30 degrees of Scorpio. So whole of the Jyeshtha Nakshatra is inside Scorpio. It is also Gandamul Nakshatra, it is also Gandanta point. Okay. Gandanta point is also between 27 degrees of Scorpio to 30 degrees of Scorpio. So that's why it is like a troublesome zone, Jyeshtha Nakshatra. Jyeshtha, as I said, literally, if we just make a literal translation of Jyeshtha, it means the eldest one. Then this its representation is a round talisman. Okay, the kind of tabij or any sacred thread we wear to prevent ourselves from any ill will or wrong effects of something. So its representation is a mystical object, the round talisman. That's why it is closest nakshatra to mysticism. Okay, if there is a nakshatra which is closest to mysticism, that is Jyeshtha, because its representation itself is a mystical object, round talisman. Another symbol of Jyeshtha is umbrella. Okay, then Jyeshtha's lord is Mercury, its deity is Indra. It falls into Scorpio sign, so Mars and Ketu co-rule it. Now coming to mythological story. Okay, so this one is interesting. So all these nakshatras, understand, all these 27 nakshatras, they are 28 in total. Okay, there is one invisible nakshatra, Abhijit, but besides it, all the remaining 27 nakshatras are actually 27 sisters. Okay, they all got married to Moon. Okay, Moon married all the 27 sisters. But and Jyeshtha was the eldest among them. Okay, eldest among those 27. So that's why her name is Jyeshtha, the eldest one. Now the thing is that Moon's favorite wife was Rohini. As we can understand from the Rohini nakshatra, it is all about beauty and lavishness of life, convenience, luxury, everything which we love. So that's why Moon wanted to spend most of the time with Rohini. Okay, the most beautiful wife of his. He was spending all the time with Rohini. That made other sisters feel jealous about Rohini. Okay, when other sisters felt jealous, they went to the eldest one. They went to the Jyeshtha and they complained about Rohini. That okay fine, they complained about Rohini and Moon, that Moon is spending all the time with Rohini only, and if he had married to all of us, he should give equal time to all of us. So Jeshtha came in between, and she made some rules and regulations for the Moon, that if you have got married to all of us, then you have to spend equal time with all of us. And then she made the rule that Moon will spend one day with every wife of his. Okay, that's why Moon stays in one nakshatra for one day and completes the cycle of 27 nakshatras in 27 days. Okay, this is the main story of Jeshtha nakshatra, and we can understand a lot about this nakshatra and its representation through this story. Okay, which we will discuss now. The first thing is the name. Okay, we can understand a lot about this nakshatra through its name itself. Jeshtha, eldest one. They have the desire to be in an authoritative position. When Jeshtha nakshatra is prominent in someone's chart, they want to be in authoritative position. They want to be someone very superior. Okay, even if they are not in authoritative position, their attitude can be very authoritative. They will behave like an authoritative person. Okay, because the nakshatra name itself. Now, as it is about authority, this nakshatra is also about ego, because whoever is the eldest in the family, whoever has the high authority in your office, will carry some ego. So this nakshatra is also the nakshatra of ego assertion. Okay, then it can also be understood as a person who is very matured. If not authoritative or eldest, he may be very matured person. Like I know a person who is she is only 18 years of age. Okay, and she has 2 planets in Jeshtha nakshatra, and she talks in a very very matured way. Okay, one of the most matured people I have ever met in my life. Okay, so that is the representation of the nakshatra. The Jeshtha, not only it can make someone very authoritative or egoistic, it can make someone very matured also. Then its deity Indra is also, like Indra is the king of the gods, right? So it is again showing the authoritative nature or authoritative position or ambition to get that authority with this nakshatra. Then it is, as I said, it is closest nakshatra to mysticism because of its representation of round talisman. So they can be easily interested in any kind of research oriented activity, any kind of occult mysticism. It is closest to being astrologer and all. Now another symbol, alternate symbol of this nakshatra is umbrella. Umbrella is about giving shelter to others. Okay, so they can be in situation where they can give shelter to others. Now go back to the story. What happened? Jeshtha provided a kind of shelter to all the sisters. Okay, she provided a kind of support and refuge to all the sisters, where she listened to them and she did something for benefit of all. Okay, so these people can be like again it is a symbolism of someone who is like a head of family. Okay, because head of family provides shelter to others. Okay, so this is also one important representation of this nakshatra. Then it can bring emotional issues, especially if someone has moon in Jeshtha nakshatra, because it is Gandamul nakshatra and also Gandanta point is there. So moon, which represents emotions and mind, this person can have lots of emotional instability in Jeshta, moon in Jeshta person. Okay. Then if we look at the story again, the all the sisters felt jealous of Rohini, so they can be very jealous. Jealousy is very important factor of Jeshta nakshatra. They can be very jealous of others authority, others achievements and others lives. Okay, if someone, let's say, have planet in Jeshta nakshatra in second house, okay, second house of family and wealth, this person can be very jealous about the family environment, family of others, or he can be very jealous of the wealth, assets or conveniency factor of others. Okay, if someone has planets in Jeshta nakshatra in the 10th house, they can be very jealous about like someone's authority, okay, someone's career. They can be very jealous of about that. So jealousy is a big factor with this nakshatra. Now the important thing is they are very good at administrating things. Okay, they can be very good administrators. They can be very good at any job related with administration, because that is what Jeshta did. Okay, Jeshta actually laid down the rules and regulations for the moon so that everything can be fair. Okay, that moon is spending equal time to everyone. Okay, so that is what they are very good at. They are very justifiable people, because again that is what Jeshta did. She was very justified that okay, fine, if you have got married to all of us, then spend time with all of us. You cannot just spend time with one sister of ours and neglect all others. Okay, so they are very justifiable. That is where again the symbolism of umbrella comes into consideration, because umbrella is like a shelter. Being justifiable is like giving shelter to others, okay, who are feeling being unjustified. Okay, so this is also one of the traits of this nakshatra. uh, right, so overall we can say that this nakshatra is about people who are if I just sum up, people who are very much interested in occult mysticism, people who are very justifiable, who are very good in administrating things, and who have a sense of authority, which can at times bring ego also. Okay, so it can be a nakshatra of ego assertion too. Okay, so this is what is seen from this nakshatra of Jeshta. uh, Second, and as we know that it is the end of the second set of 9 nakshatras. So first set of 9 nakshatras ended at Ashlesha. Now second set of 9 nakshatra is ending at Jeshta. So but this is one nakshatra which I really like. Maybe it is because it is closest to occult mysticism, but other factors, the mythological story involved, the other factors involved, the justifiability and the administration, rules and regulations, maybe these things attract me, so I am very close to this nakshatra. Okay, so this is what this nakshatra is all about. Okay, let's see if there are any questions. Okay, a really great article about astrology predictions, thank you. My sun and Rahu are in Jeshta nakshatra in 4th house. Means it is Scorpio, 4th house, Leo ascendant. Okay, it can make you, as sun is about career, and it is also your first lord life path. So your life path and career path can go into the direction of Jeshta related things, which we just discussed. Plus, it is. Rahu is there, so Rahu can make you obsessed towards all these things, but at the same time it is also eclipse birth. Okay, so, Sun and Rahu are together, so Sun is eclipsed. It is making you realize your path, your career path or your life path with certain delay in life. Okay, so this is also one of the uh, a result of this Sun Rahu in Jeshta. Venus in third house in Jeshta. Third house is Scorpio in Jeshta. So it is Virgo ascendant person, second and ninth lord in Jeshta. So it shows that the person's wealth is coming through ninth house related activities and through his own business. This person will turn his higher education knowledge into business and gain his wealth. Venus in Jeshta can mean someone is gaining out of research oriented activities, occult mysticism, any kind of research. He may have love towards authority and the recognition, and but at the same time, as ego is involved, this person's relationship can have instability due to ego conflicts. Okay, cool. Venus in third house in Scorpio. Venus in third house in Scorpio, Jeshta Padavan, same thing which I said. Favorable dasha and lords for Jeshta Nakshatra. Favorable dashas and lords for Jeshta Nakshatra. There is nothing like favorable dasha and all, because every dasha will have its good bad factor both. Okay, even if you are going through, let's say, Jupiter dasha or Venus dasha. Okay, I can give you the best example, Venus Mahadasha. Okay, we can say, or we think that Venus is the most benefic planet. So I know a person who was under Venus dasha. Now Venus was in Libra, so even dignity wise it was fine. But in that Venus dasha, he got addicted to this liquor, alcohol and all, and ended up in having a cancer. Okay, so this is what I'm saying, that even in the best of the dasha, if you are not utilizing it properly, it can result in something negative. So there is nothing like favorable dasha. Every dasha is favorable, every dasha is not favorable. Just depends on how you are utilizing that energy. Okay, this is something which I wrote yesterday. If you check yesterday's article, at the end of the day, it is your own efforts, whichever direction you are taking it. Okay. Moon in Jeshta, fifth house, aspected by Mars in Leo. Okay, from second house. How is that? Again, it is mind. Moon is mind, and it is in Jeshta nakshatra. So, and it is debilitated in Scorpio. So it is like the mind can be very much fearful about uncertainties of future, instabilities, fear of the unknown can be there with Moon in Jeshta in Scorpio, fifth house. This person may have attracted lots of difficult relations in life. Okay, so that is also one of the result with Moon debilitated in fifth house Scorpio. Mars aspect is like although it is providing niche bhangraj yoga, and it can be like good for professional matters, but in personal life it will still be a difficult connection with moon in fifth house. Okay, in personal life it is difficult. This Mars aspect can provide certain aggression or uh, anger to the person. Okay, in relationship matters. But if this person is in business or in career, he can be like very active with his approach. Okay, so this is the difference we have to always make between your personal life and professional life. Okay, so this is the thing. Then uh, uh, he can like the usual results of Scorpio and Jeshta, that is in occult mysticism or any kind of research oriented activities. He can be very active in those things. What if moon with Ketu in 8th house, Jeshta Nakshatra? Excellent position for occult and mysticism related career. Okay, this person can be best, uh, the best mystic, the best occultist. Okay, if you have this position, moon Ketu in 8th house in Scorpio in Jeshta, you can be a perfect mystic. Not only about astrology, numerology, palmistry, whatever is occult can bring lots of interest to you. Okay, so this is there, but it can be a difficult position for the relationship with mother, especially because moon represents mother, and here moon is also fourth lord. So it can be a very disturbing karmic relationship with mother. Hello, thank you. Rahu in Jeshta in 10th house for Aquarius Lagna, Mars in Taurus, and Mercury in Lagna. What you will say about native career choices? Um, it is Aquarius ascendant. What happens with Aquarius ascendant is 10th house as a Scorpio sign. 10th house is, we see it as a house of career, but it is a job, house of job oriented career. It is house of working under others authority. A Scorpio sign is there, it shows lots of difficulty or lots of instability in career if this person tries to work under others authority. Rahu is there, further exploding the results, further blowing things apart. Then that means this person will have lots of instability whenever he is trying to work under others in job setup. Okay, so first indication we are getting that this person should work for himself. Okay, that is the first indication. Otherwise he will not have a very stable career. He will always have some fight, conflict with authority figures, bosses and colleagues. Okay, that is the thing. Then Mars is in Taurus and Mercury is in Lagna. Mercury in Lagna itself shows a life path of business. Mars in Taurus, now understand, 10th lord is coming into the 4th house. Okay, so your work should come to your home. Okay, home based work. Okay, in this day and age of corona, everyone is working from home, but otherwise we can say that your work should come at your home rather than you going to your work. Okay, so this is important for his career. First of all, the person should not be under others authority. He should become his own authority, and he should be working in a business setup. Okay, what are the attributes of Jupiter in Jeshta? Great. As its 8th lord star, Mercury present in 12th house, what type of losses it can incur as connected to 12th house? You are saying Jupiter is in 8th house, Scorpio in Jyeshtha, and Mercury is in 12th house. And what type of losses that Mercury can give, right? And that's what I understand now. If this is the situation, then Mercury is also in Pisces sign, where it is debilitated. It is third and sixth lord. Whenever we talk about losses, it is more on the personal front. Okay, that the person will have loss of relationship, loss of either relationship with husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, or any kind of relationship. It is not your career related losses or business related losses. Okay, it is more about feeling loss in your personal life setup. Then when Mercury is third and sixth lord, I'm not sure whether it is Aries ascendant you are talking about, but if it is so, then okay, Jupiter, just a second. Okay, Jupiter in first house in Jyeshtha. Its eighth lord is star. Okay, then Mercury is your 8th and 11th lord. Okay, so the person will feel a sense of loss in marriage benefits, maybe in physical relationship also. Okay, because Mercury is debilitated. Finding connection, communication with partner can be difficult here. Okay, Jupiter is in Jyeshtha nakshatra. Again, Jupiter is a family oriented planet, marriage oriented planet. It is in Jyeshtha, which is about the ego and authority. Due to ego conflicts, the person's family life can be disturbed, can be unstable. So this is where they need to work. Which is the house that shows working for yourself? Almost every house. Okay, almost every house shows working for yourself. We can start from first house. First house is self. Second house is family, which can represent family business. Third house is self effort. It means putting your self effort. Fourth house is home, working from home. Fifth house is creativity, following your creative pursuits. Sixth house is your daily work life, so your daily work life can be for yourself. Seventh house is business. Eighth house is business benefit. Ninth house is teaching, guiding, and counseling people. 10th house is authority in itself. 11th house is entrepreneurship. 12th house is spirituality. So every house is indicating towards working for self. Understand the concept of job. Okay, don't mind, but concept of job has only come through slavery. Okay, the if you look into the ancient times, everyone used to follow their trades. Okay, whatever the family trade was there, they used to follow that. A carpenter son used to be a carpenter. A farmer's son used to become a farmer. Okay, this concept of job came with the kingdoms. Okay, when the king wanted to have some servants around him. Okay, so he hired, and he got some soldiers fighting for him, right? So from there the concept of job came. So concept of job is nothing but concept of slavery. Okay, your chart doesn't want you to be slave, your chart wants you to be independent. Okay, so that's where that's why every house of your chart is indicating towards one or the other uh, own type of work, that either you can follow your creativity and work for yourself, or you can just guide and counsel people, or you can have your own business, you can follow your family trade by second house. Okay, so this concept of job is just the result of concept of slavery, nothing else. Okay, my brother has Sun, Mars, Mercury conjunction in first house. Counselor, Sun, Mars, Mercury together normally makes very good counselor. I am also Sun, Mars, Mercury in the third house. So they are very good counselors, but they are very harsh counselors. Okay. They don't say things to please others. Okay. uh, Now understand that there can be counselor who are just pleasing people to gain more in their business, but there can be a counselor who are just speaking harsh truth, no matter you like it or not. Okay. No matter whether you are coming back for my business or not, but they feel that it is their duty to speak that truth. Okay. So this Sun, Mars, Mercury, because Sun and Mars both are fiery and Mercury is counseling, so they can be a very fiery communicators. Jupiter in first house, Jyeshtha. Okay, my daughter has Venus, Rahu, and Mercury in Jyeshtha. Nakshatra in fifth house. Sun is also there. Okay, in Anuradha. It is difficult when so many planets are in Scorpio. It shows at least the initial life is very unstable of the person. Now, when he grows and when she grows and when she realizes what she can do, what she cannot do, what she can expect in life, what she cannot expect, then it is a different thing. But the initial life can be very difficult for the person. Okay, with so many planets in Scorpio. Uh, okay. Sun is also, and as Jyeshtha's basic trait is about being in authoritative position or research and all that. She may like to be in authoritative position, and that authority may come through some research oriented work. It can be any kind of research. As a radiologist, but not happy, want to start his own business, but not sure what type of work. um, uh, Getting to know the exact profession someone has to follow, it is like 7 8 different steps. So I cannot tell all the those steps right now. It is not that I want to hide. I will just ping you the link, so you can check all those steps, and you can find out what is the best career for the person. What if moon is in Jyeshtha in 8th house, Scorpio sign, and moon Mahadasha is running? As I said, the person may have very difficult relationship with mother. He can be very research oriented, plus moon Mahadasha is running, so the mind will continuously be under the fear of unknown. Okay, this time period may not be may not be very stable. Okay. This person will always be under the fear of unknown, that something may happen. Whether I should spend this money or not, if something happens tomorrow, what will I do? Okay, this type of continuous fear will be there with moon in 8th house in Scorpio and in Jyeshtha. Especially if it is also in Gandanta point between 27 to 30 degree, it is even more difficult for emotional stability of the person. My son has Jupiter in Scorpio in Vishakha Pada 4 in first house. His moon is in fifth house, Pisces. Mars in ninth house, Cancer. How will be the Ketu transit over his Jupiter moon? Okay, Ketu transiting over Jupiter. So it is like Ketu is all about research and research oriented works, plus it is all also about your past life karma. Now if it is transiting over Jupiter, which is also a marriage and family oriented person, this person can be interested in researching in his field of interest, whatever thing he is interested in. But at the same time, he can meet a person in relationship with whom he may have a past life karma involved. And as it is a past life karma, as Ketu is involved, it cannot be a pleasant karma. Okay, it may be a difficult relationship. Agree. Want to work for myself. Working for someone else is indeed like slavery for me. Okay. Sun, Rahu, Mercury in the third house. So Rahu in third house can make someone very action oriented, very active. Okay, high on willpower. When Sun are also there, it is like Sun is career, Mercury is business. This person may be very active, very courageous in business, but at the same time, as Sun Rahu is again creating this eclipse, this person may realize his path, which business he should follow and all, with certain delay in life. It may not be very clear in initial life. Okay. Cancer Lagna, Gochar Rahu transiting over natal Ketu and Mars. Okay. Venus in 12th house, seeing person going through tough time. It is mainly because it is semi-nodal return, right? Rahu transiting over Ketu and Ketu transiting over Rahu is semi-nodal return. It is the time of utter confusion. Okay, because understand, your birth Rahu is gravitating you towards fifth house. Okay, but transiting Ketu is isolating you from fifth house. Birth Ketu is isolating you from 11th house. Transiting Rahu is gravitating you towards 11th house. So this person doesn't know what to do, what not to do, whether to gravitate or isolate towards the 5th house, whether to gravitate or isolate towards the 11th house. So that's the confusion. Ideally, this person should not take any important decision of life in this 1.5 year time period. Okay, like marriage or career change, anything like that. And no important decision, even like property. Okay, property buying, selling, or if it is so important to take such a decision, then do proper research. Okay, just ensure that there is no cheating involved, there is no fraud involved. Okay. Okay, I think we are done. So many questions today. Okay, I think we are done. If someone has some questions, feel free to ping, comment. I will be more than happy to respond. Okay, take care. Let's start with Mula. Okay, next session will be on Mula Nakshatra, and then we will go towards the last third set of nakshatras. Thank you. Take care. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye.